Rob's Roundtable. We got Nico. Give him the old face, Nico.
Ow.
Oh.
We are going running back tiers. We're going off Fantasy Pros ECR, half-point PPR right here. Check out the show, man. People aren't watching. You need to watch. No ad reads. None of that. Just some good old-fashioned fun. Maybe some fat jokes. All this goodness. You got this gentleman here. We have, 40-plus years of fantasy experience?
Give or take,
I play 25 leagues a year. That's not
feel,
best ball. I play 25 redrafts. I have been for 10 years.
Yeah.
We get into it, man.
That's a lot of redrafts. I've had to dial that back, man. I'm getting...
Well, he's got children. I don't. I have a dog and a wife, but, she's into fantasy now, too. So everythinging's good.
Fantastic.
I
got husband-wife league?
Well, maybe. That's just a swinger league.
Oh,
fantasy people.
Depending who wins.
She's not involved, so.
Whichever team wins, that's the top.
It's awesome, yeah. It's awesome.
Or...
2 stat of the days. A double stat of the day for you. This one is great. So, Isaiah Pacheco, in his career, you've heard he's not a receiving back, blah, 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 blah. 82 targets in his career. You know how many receptions he has?
78.
75.
All right.
That is real... I know I set it up like it's going to be high.
That's very efficient.
Yeah, and they're mostly little screen passes. I don't care.
Yeah.
They don't have Jerick McKinnon anymore.
You're not dropping them.
They do have my guy.
Your guy.
Generic Prince.
Mr.
But he
Prince.
is also not a receiving back, and CEH is just a pipsqueak.
No, don't worry, dude. You couldn't get a chick if you had a $100 bill hanging out of your zipper.
Yeah, I could.
No, dude. You're a little bitch.
I am not. I don't even know why I hang out with you guys.
Because you're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch. Sure.
Last stat of the day here. This is a great one. 6 offenses do not have an RB with an ADP inside the top 100 picks. We have Dallas, Cleveland, Chargers, Washington, Giants, and Denver. That is a lot of obscurity there. There's some value to be had.
Cleveland's injury, right?
Yeah, Cleveland's injury with Nick Chubb, and you got they're both going back.
You saw Deontay Foreman get hurt today in practice, too.
There's, Zeke. You got Brian Robinson, who's outside the 100, Devin Singletary, who there's no one else there, and Javonte Williams. So target those backfields, man. Whether it be the cheaper guy that could take the job over, or take the starter. For if you go 0 RB, you take the starter, you get 4 weeks out of him, and then you just go from there, right?
For the most part, I'm taking the guy that's going later. Javonte Williams, I'm not sure is ever going to be the same after that injury, but I'm on some of the other backs in Denver.
Yeah. I hear you have a nugget for me.
Outside of him. Kind of a crazy one. Little Olympic stat for you today. Right? We got the Olympics going on out in Paris. America's dominating. Per usual. And someone else got dominated today, and it was not pretty. I don't have in front of me where she was from. I believe it was a female boxer yells, "This is unjust," falls to her knees in tears as she quits her fight against a biological male Olympic opponent just after 46 seconds. So we're in the Olympics, and I think it was an Algerian boxer. I'm not positive. Don't quote me.
So we have
on that,
trannies beating up on chicks.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I think you broke my nose.
The guy's beating on that chick.
Oh my god!
Oh no, it's a dude. Yeah, she has a penis, so it's okay.
Dude, is that a hate crime?
Yeah. You have a transgender male in the Olympics competing, like crushing these girls' dreams and hopes to win an Olympic medal. They've been busting their ass their whole lives, and you're going to come in with arguably a biological advantage.
Miss Swanson, how does it feel to be competing today? I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman. Now that I can compete as female, I'm ready to smash the other girls.
Not arguably. Bone structure and everything. Adam's apple, penis.
I have a really hard time with this. I've got 2 daughters. They're not in the Olympics yet. Maybe someday. I'm not super hopeful. I'm not banking on that one. But it would bother me a lot as a dad to watch my daughter struggle through something like that because of what I think is.
Whoa. You know what I'm going to do?
Believe me.
I'm going to specifically have a son and turn him into a tranny so he can dominate the Olympics, dude.
Yep.
Be like, I'm the best sports dad ever. Yes.
We're going full Johnny Knoxville when he enters into the Special Olympics,
same thing.
Yeah. So what sport are we going to go win? The next Special Olympics. What do you want to sign up for? Me and you, buddy, we'll identify as special.
Yeah. Fantasy football.
All right.
No, it's one thing when it's swimming or something else. When you're talking about a combat sport, draw the line, man. Joe Rogan said it a bunch. Draw the line. We cannot be having this. Someone's going to get hurt. in general, screw that. I'm not for it. If you want to transition, you want to cut off your dick, I don't care.
You can do all those things.
Oh, dude,
but you still are not signing up for the other gender sport.
No, let's not do that. All right, running back tiers, ECR Fantasy Pros. We're going to go first tier here. It's a 3-man tier. CMC, Bijan Robinson, and Breece Hall. CMC, the clear one, although historically speaking, running back, especially with the age, at 400 touches, do not perform the next year.
Yeah,
is he, and this is a Niners guy, is he going to break that mold?
I think so. I think he's built differently. I think he still continues to have that entire offense funneled through him, pending health, which has been an issue with him. But I think a lot of his injuries were one-offs, not like repeat, like tendon, ligament type of stuff.
Right.
In different areas of his body. But that top three, just take your pick.
Are you taking him number one?
Yeah, if I got the first pick.
Here's another question I'll pose to you. So he had 410 touches, whatever, last year. What is the touch number he needs to get to number one this year? Just throw aside the other guys. To get RB1 traditionally is 22 full PPR points a game, 18.5, 19 half-point PPR points a game. Is it 300 touches? Is it 320?
3 to 350, split the difference, 325. I would say. I don't
He'd
think
probably
you gotta
still
get,
be there.
Yeah, I don't think you got to give
14
him over 400.
touchdowns.
And those other dynamic players on that offense, being Ayuk and Debo and Kittle, are opening that field up. And Shanahan's an offensive guru who schemes things appropriately. And I think you're still going to see, like I said, that offense run through McCaffrey. But as a Niner fan, as a designated homer, I've said it a million times on this pod, I would not argue if anybody wanted to take Bijan over CMC.
Yeah, I would be more comfortable taking the receivers over him than the running back, right? At that point, if you're taking a running back, just take the guy that, if he gets hurt, it gets hurt. Guess what? Bijan and Breece Hall could also get hurt.
Yeah.
Breece Hall had an ACL 2 years ago. Bijan seems pretty indestructible, but apparently he gets sick and they don't play him. And there's also Tyler Algier there. Another question: Bijan or Breece Hall? What do you rank them? Are they 1B, 1B?
No, I think Bijan's I love Breece Hall out of Iowa State. Great running back. I think Bijan's a clear leader because of that offensive line is better, as well as Kirk Cousins coming in there to just manage it. Versus what are you going to get out of Aaron if he stays healthy?
Yeah,
I don't think you have a Garrett Wilson in Atlanta that's going to demand as many targets as you would up there. But
don't tell that to the Drake London truthers. But
I'm not a Drake London.
So Breece Hall killed it last year with 4 touchdowns rushing, and it was a bad offense. It was awful, but it was mostly on his receiving prowess, right? Mm-hmm. And Bijan also has great receiving prowess. The worry there is Tyler Algier is a much better complementary back than we love Braylon Allen, but he's a rookie, right? Tyler Algier, they're comfortable mixing him in more, and the Jets are in a win now mode. To where they're going to probably just run Breece Hall 80% of the snaps as much as he can handle. I'm a little concerned with Bijan's usage. Bijan is a player. I love Breece Hall. Bijan is probably the best running back in the league. Talent-wise, bro. I'm sorry, CMC, but Bijan is young. Dude, that guy's unreal.
He's physically gifted, right?
So you're taking Bijan too. I am still taking Bijan too based on the upside, but I feel like it could be a mistake.
And, I don't know that necessarily it is because you saw that offense run through Bijan and Algier last year, and it's because you don't want to give Bijan too many touches. You want to keep him fresh, but they didn't have a quarterback. They didn't have a pass game. So Cousins...
and they're projected to have 9.5 wins. They need to play their guys.
Cousins is going to open that field up a little bit more for Bijan. It's going to be a lot tougher to scheme against the run.
Or Penix, too, because he's a deep ball guy. You know what I'm saying? He does open the field up a little bit. All right, next tier here. Jonathan Taylor at 4, Jahmyr Gibbs at 5, Saquon at 6, Kyren Williams at 7, Derrick Henry at 8, and Travis Etienne at 9. I'm actually going to throw in Isaiah Pacheco at 10 because I've seen Pacheco go ahead of Etienne. Let's stop the tier there. They stop it at Etienne. I'm stopping it at Pacheco for this exercise here. What stands out to you? Do you feel like Jonathan Taylor should be in the first tier or Gibbs? Those two guys who are kind of a cut above these other guys in terms of just situation, talent, projections. Do you think they could be in the top tier to make it a 5-person tier or a 4-person tier if you throw one of them in there?
I think you can, and I think it's JT, and you saw him as the RB1 just a couple years ago outside of injury.
And the number 1 pick, RB1 followed by the number 1 pick the next year.
He's done it before. Yeah, he's done it before. He can do it again. I get you've got Anthony Richardson's going to steal a little bit of the rush work there, but as a whole, I think JT does belong in that tier 1. And Gibbs, the only reason I wouldn't is Montgomery. That's it, because the shares, I'd maybe have him
the
in
touchdown vulture, man.
Yeah, and the pass catching upside's there, and I like that. And Gibbs is electric, man. But if it's me, I'm moving JT up, and Etienne and Pacheco, you could argue flip those two around either way you want. But yeah, have them both up there. I'm fine with that.
Saquon, you like a 6? What do you think? I mean, they're going to use him, right?
I love his talent, man. They're coming out to win. I think as a whole, he's been one of the best running backs that we've seen in recent years. His athletic ability, his skill set. It's just a question of Devontae and AJ and even Goddard to a certain degree, plus Hurts. What was they didn't have a single? They did not have a single goal line rushing attempt last year.
Well, they had a lot of rushing attempts from the 4 where DeAndre Swift got 1 yard.
Yeah,
he got like 24 inside the 5 and had like 2 touchdowns. So here's my question. If Saquon Barkley plays, let's give him 16 games. What is his touchdown variance? Like, what is the low end? What is the high end? I'm going to put mine at like 6 low end and like 14 high end.
Dude, that's almost exactly where I was at. I was like 6 or 7 low end, and I don't see more than 14.
Right. No way
with the rest of that offense there and with Hurts running the way he is, like even that's 12, 14. Yeah.
So the average would be like 10.
Yeah.
So you think it's safe to say he's going to have 10 touchdowns if he stays healthy?
I do. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think he's 1,200 and 10.
But unfortunately, someone like Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Bijan, they have 14, 15, 16. CMC has 20 touchdown upside.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Pass catching chops, which he has, that doesn't translate to Eagles because they don't throw the ball to running backs. They didn't throw it to Swift. They don't throw it to Gainwell. They don't throw it to anyone.
No, and there's not much behind Saquon, but it's just going to be the rushing yards.
So Kyren Williams is 7, another guy that has a touchdown. I mean, he had a lot of touchdowns last year, 2 every game, I feel like, especially when I played him.
That's insane.
I feel like this is very high. Especially with Blake Corum coming in.
I'm not going to own Kyren anywhere. I have trust issues with McVay's running backs. Historically, look at what the Rams have done every year with running backs. You never know which one's going to end up in the doghouse, which one's going to get the work. Like, I'm so high on Akers. He's killing it, and then all of a sudden, fucking playing. I'm like, dude, I was so mad
Stop
at that.
swearing.
I know. Sorry. Bad at it.
He's drinking. But do you see the allure, though? The point is, Sean McVay is actually a one running back guy.
He is until he's not. Like, that's my issue.
Well, no, it just could be the different running back.
Yeah.
Like, he's always a one running back guy.
Okay, yeah.
But, like, do you think there's a chance that Blake Corum steals a job from him outside of injury? I don't see that.
No, because he's the same thing.
So then why are we off Kyren then? Because if we know he's going to get 70% of the touches in that awesome running back friendly environment, we know the offense will probably be better with a healthy Cooper Kupp.
They have a fantastic offensive line there too.
So that's what I'm saying. So we should be about Kyren. Why are we not about him?
I don't know.
Is it just a feeling?
I think it's because he's a Ram.
I don't think he's that good of a player.
He's very replaceable.
Like, Derrick Henry and Etienne and Pacheco are the next guys. I feel like definitely Henry and Etienne are better players. I mean, Henry's an all-timer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with the Ravens, and we have Etienne, who is just lightning in a bottle, dude.
And how much have we seen it out of Kyren? We've seen it out of those other guys more than once.
9 games.
Yeah.
12 games.
So that's trust issues there, too. You haven't built it up yet. You're building trust, but you haven't built it up yet.
Do you have Kyren at the bottom of this tier, or do you have him out of this tier?
I think bottom of the tier based on volume.
Would you take Etienne over Kyren?
Yeah.
Wow. And obviously Derrick Henry at half point. This is half point PPR. Okay, Henry, what do you think about Baltimore? What do you think? You think it's good for him? You think it's a lateral move because less volume, more high-value touches? Because, I mean, Gus Edwards did have, like, 14 touchdowns last year, dude.
And that's what I'm looking at.
This is Derrick Henry, and you don't have anyone behind him.
Yeah.
Keaton Mitchell, who is a gadget player and hurt.
You were able to focus on Henry in Tennessee, and he still ran away with games. Literally ran away with games with some of his yards and touchdown totals.
Age, though. Come on.
And until
he took a little step back last year.
Until he doesn't do it, I'm going to assume he can do it.
So Derrick Henry or Saquon, half point PPR, who are you going with?
Oh, that is such a tough one for me. I think I'm going to... Oh, jeez. That's so hard.
That's tough. Take whoever falls. But if you have a choice...
Yeah, if they're both sitting there and they're both my top running back and I'm looking half, I'm going to go with what I think is the safer play in Henry in Baltimore. Because you know they're going to lean on him. There's going to be games where Saquon, I don't know, needs to be that involved. But Lamar and Hurts both take the rushing away. Like, what game are each of them going to rush and take those attempts away from the running back? I'm also really high on Keaton Mitchell. I like him a lot. When he comes back healthy, I think he can steal some work for the most
Etienne
part.
Pacheco. These are two guys I love where they're going. Back-end RB1s, all the work, nothing behind him besides our boy Generic Prince. But Etienne has nothing behind him. He's ready to break out. He showed his receiving work last year. He showed his rushing chops his first year. Well, his second year, technically, his first full year.
Yeah.
I love both these offenses. I love both their roles. I love their security. I like the talent. Etienne a little more than Pacheco, but Pacheco's earned the right. I don't care if at this point, when you're a 7th-round pick, that only matters the first year. It doesn't matter. Look at St. Brown. Look at some of these guys. Cooper Kupp. Look at Puka Nacua. Like once they are drafted, and it doesn't matter. We don't draft them as such based on where they were drafted in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So
it's what the talent is now.
I like these two guys. Like I feel like there's not a lot of question there in terms of work, receiving work, offense. Give me these guys all day, right?
I think they're a good value, and I think if you're going to get one of those top-tier receivers in the first round, I'm going to feel real comfortable with one of them as my RB1 coming back around.
Okay, next tier here, we have Devin Achane, Rashad White, Joe Mixon at 13, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, and Kenneth Walker. So the dead zone usually starts around 13, 14, 15, goes to the end of RB2s. This is like 24. Last year, I'm going to read you the dead zone running backs from last year here. We have Najee, this is starting at 14. Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, Damian Pierce, Aaron Jones, Alexander Madison, Breece Hall at 19, James Conner at 20, Javonte Williams, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, because he was suspended, and James Cook. Now, the back guys actually did really well. Breece Hall killed it. James Conner killed it when he was healthy. Kamara killed it, and then James Cook killed it. But the early guys were trash. Najee, disappointed. Miles Sanders, bum. Damian Pierce got benched. Aaron Jones, I have a wash there, but probably worse. And then Alexander Madison lost his job.
When Jones played, he was fine, but the injuries.
So, last year wasn't an awful year for the dead zone, but it wasn't great. This year, I like this dead zone with what I read, at least with this tier. So, Devin Achane.
I'm not worried about Mostert very much. I mean, I get he had all those touchdowns last year, but another year, and you look back, it's like his success seems so fluky as well. You know, and he's an explosive, real fast player. I get that. But I think you're going to want to lean on what appears to me to be the more agile running back there, as well as you're going to transition. You tend to transition away from the older guys before they're bad, right? And I think that's what Miami and Mike McDaniel are going to do there. Rashad White is a volume play. You saw nothing change in that offense. They have a fantastic offensive line. I expect White to do at least what he did last year, if not more, because all of those players have come back for another year in Tampa Bay. And Joe Mixon, you and I both are Mixon guys, right? We've liked him a lot in Cincinnati. I think he's been a value a number of years, and he continues to be that value in Houston.
Yeah.
It's a good offense that's going to be wide open for him to run. Same thing you saw in Cincy with Burrow and those receivers.
James Cook. This is a guy I know you don't like. We were off him last year a little bit, but you can't argue with the production. He had two rushing touchdowns last year.
He got so much more volume than I anticipated. And do you think that's sustainable is where I'm at with Cook still?
It is, because the passing down, the passing work's got to be there because there's no one else.
Yeah,
and he's a good playmaker. Here's why I like Cook. Is where he's at is he's valued as such in terms of he's not getting the goal line work, right? He's not trusted. What happens if he does? I heard he bulked up a little bit. He is Dalvin Cook's younger brother. Dalvin Cook was never the biggest guy, but he got all the work because he was the trusted best player.
Yeah.
Why take him off the field? If this happens, James Cook's like a top 6 running back.
And he didn't give you a lot of reasons last year to not trust him.
He's never been hurt, which is crazy because I feel like he comes to a guy that had these nagging injuries, ankles.
Reminds me of ETN a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Where ETN, when he's getting all the work up the middle, you're like, it's never going to last. Why do you keep doing it? And all of a sudden, ETN's a volume running back.
So, are you on James Cook this year at 15? Because I feel like that's real nice. Like, I almost want to put him up with the Pacheco and ETN tier, just because, like, who else is there? Yeah, Ray Davis, but, like, dude, we've seen this story before. I like Ray Davis, but, like, as a flyer, as a handcuff.
Yeah.
And possibly a guy that, what Latavius Murray did last year with the 6-7 rushing touchdowns. But that didn't really stop James Cook's value.
I think this whole tier has a couple of question marks because of who's there with them running the ball, or because of what the passing game is going to be. Are the touchdowns going to come through the receiving game, or are they going to come through the rushing game?
Yeah.
And that's why they're all in this tier. But arguably, they're all volume plays outside of Achane, and the second Mostert's hurt than Achane is. And you saw when he was healthy, that's the main concern there, right?
Yeah.
When he was healthy, he did get a lot of work. So I think this third tier is way, way more trustworthy than what you've seen in the past.
Right, and then Kenneth Walker rounding it out at 16. You got Zach Charbonnet.
And he's good, and you got a new regime up there coaching, right? Pete Carroll's gone, so you don't know who they're going to want to go through. But even if it's both of them, you see the NFL now, 2 running backs, you're able to sustain that.
Are you worried about Charbonnet because his metrics were better?
Yeah.
Last year than Kenneth Walker, who's a home run hitter, who's a tiny dancer.
I'd rather grab Charbonnet later with the higher upside for what I'm paying. He's a better value.
Right. I agree with that there. All right. Number 17, we're getting the next tier here. We have Alvin Kamara at 17, David Montgomery 18, Aaron Jones 19, Stevenson, James Conner, Zamir White, Najee Harris at 23, Raheem Mostert at 24, and DeAndre Swift at 25. That rounds out the RB2s. This starts getting a little gross here, but there's a couple guys I want to highlight. Kamara, I mean, he's Alvin Kamara. I feel like that's going to be a
Still looks
value.
like he has it, yeah.
You just have, the problem is there's a couple guys there. You still have Taysom Hill. I mean, that's
steal
a
some touchdowns here
problem
and
there, but it's the passing down work.
If
right?
I miss out on Kamara, I'm targeting Kendra Miller late because of the upside there with him in that
Story
offense
does not
as well.
like Kendra Miller.
I know.
David Montgomery.
Poor story.
Too boring. It's an elite. It's a weekly play with the elite upside. If Gibbs gets hurt, he's a RB1, hands down.
It's not boring. It's safe. I like it. If he's your second running back, I feel very content. I like a safe second running back. I like taking something, a little riskier or a little more upside. If I'm going to shoot for the moon, like I'd rather it be one. But if there's a world where you're walking out of the draft with one of the tier 3 guys and Montgomery, I still don't mind that. I don't hate that. If you waited at running back.
Let me ask you this. Ramondre Stevenson's at 20. Okay.
He's a volume guy, but how much are they going to score? I guess is the question.
Would you rather have Montgomery?
He does catches passes as well.
Would you rather have Montgomery or Stevenson?
I think I'd rather have Stevenson.
Same. I mean, if the offense isn't as bad as we think, if he does get back to that 50, 60, 70 catches, at least 80 targets, right? The snaps here. Yeah, Antonio Gibson's there. That's my boy. But it's still Antonio Gibson. He's a knucklehead. I don't know, man. The allure of Stevenson, who disappointed last year as a early third round pick. I love it here at 20 because also running backs are depreciated. That's like a 6th round pick right now, dude.
Yeah.
You can wait at running back and get a guy that's going to have 18 touches a game, whether it might just be 16 carries for 50 yards.
And if you're down in that 6th, 7th round territory, why not take Stevenson and Conner, right? Because when Conner's healthy, he's the same thing as Stevenson is.
Right.
And so now it's okay, whichever one's healthy, whichever one's working out this week, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
What I love about James Conner is you have the clear-cut Trey Benson handcuff, who's going late. You can pair it up and get the entire Arizona backfield. Now, I don't know what that is, but it seems pretty good. That's nice. There's some of these guys, like Stevenson, there's no one to back him up.
No.
And Gibson's never going to get every touch. I do like the security of being able to lock up at backfield, especially if you wait.
Yeah.
Zamir White. He's been falling. I think the reports of just he's not that good. I don't care. Madison sucks. Give me Zamir White, bro.
Madison? Yeah.
I don't care how bad the offense is. Najee Harris at 23, Mostert at 24, Swift at 25. Let's just talk about Najee because Najee's going at 23 and Warren's going 27.
I think Warren should be going ahead of Najee.
Really? A half point?
I do. The only question for me is you see these running backs show out in their contract years, and is Najee actually going to show out in his contract year? Are they going to use him more and then let him walk? Let me put the beating on the guy that's not going to be here next year. Pittsburgh ain't going to the Super Bowl, right? So I don't know that it's worth necessarily beating up Warren, but I think Warren's the better pure running back.
Okay, so we have Najee at 23. I'm going to give you the two. There's 3 running backs here, tandems. I'm going to give you where they're going. We're going to talk about this. Najee at 23, Jalen Warren at 27. Pollard at 26, Tajee Spears at 33, Brian Robinson at 28, and Austin Eckler at 34. So, you're going Warren over Najee with the 4 spots.
Yep.
Are you going to go Spears over Pollard?
Yep.
Same. I think that's the easier one there because the 7 spots different, and I feel like it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
And
50-50 for now. I was so high on Pollard last year, and he just did not show me that he could be the guy getting all of the work. And they're going to split it at first, but I see a world where Spears leads that backfield after a month.
Right. So, last year, I got a couple stats for you. I'm going to pull a little story out my booty. He was 5th best in explosive run rate at 7%. He had the 9th best yards after contact per rushing attempt at 2.92 with running backs with at least 100 attempts last year. And Tony Pollard was bad in both those categories, clearly. Yeah. And one of the worst red zone goal line. How many times we see a 1st and goal from the 4, 3 straight Pollard carries?
I thought he was going to be so much better.
He should have been.
I thought
he had all the opportunity in the world.
More electric back than Zeke. I'm calling it before Zeke's gone. Just make Pollard the guy. Let Zeke go. And then Pollard didn't do it, and they bring Zeke back. I was like, this is awful.
Yes. I do have one more here for you. Actually, there's 2 more.
What about the last pair, though?
Brian Robinson and Eckler.
Yeah.
What do you think? Half-point PPR, 28 and 34.
I'm going Eckler.
Really? That's gross. I hate Eckler.
I know you do.
Brian Robinson had great receiving work last year. I know he's probably going to have it this year. Okay, there's two more. So we have Zach Moss at 29 and Chase Brown at 37.
I'm glad you brought that one up because I think Brown's better than Moss.
I do too.
Yeah,
and
I
the
think that one's
eight spots better, bro.
So my strategy for the most part, in case you haven't picked up yet, take whichever running back you can get later because he's probably going to be a better value.
Yeah.
In a lot of these backfields.
All right, Zeke at 35, and we have Rico Dowdle down at 46, who is falling. Where are you going there? I know Zeke is old trusty, old steady. Where are you going there?
Zeke did do better in New England than I thought he was going to last year, if I'm being honest. But I am still out, man. I'm not seeing it. I think it's Dowdle all day. Again, I don't know right out of the gate, especially with Jerry Jones leading the way. He's going to want to lean on Zeke.
But he wanted to lean on Zeke in the past because he had that big contract.
Yeah.
Now he has no contract.
But why do you bring him back then, though? Why
is Jerry Jones factoring into any of this? Because it's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
And they're clowns.
Exactly. And their GM has a say in who starts.
Yeah. It's insane. Let's get on to the next tier, though. What do you got?
I got one for you, though, real quick. I want to know what we're doing. Where was it? See, you got me drawing blanks now, too. Oh, come on.
Aren't you snipped? Aren't you snipped?
I am.
You're shooting blanks, too, bro.
Shooting blanks. Drawing blanks, shooting blanks.
Yeah, dude. Hey, Alec Baldwin wished he had blanks in that gun. Dude, I'm just on fire. That's why I'm here. I'll be here all night. That's why you watch this show. If you're still watching, that's a subscribe.
There it is.
What do you got?
Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. What are you doing there?
Taking Kamadi Vidal, baby.
You got Edwards at, 36?
I'm taking Kamadi Vidal. No, I like Gus Edwards for a 0-0 RB. I'm saying 0-0 RB.
And Dobbins at
as
51.
a starter. Not Dobbins. No,
Dobbins can't push.
Dude, I was the biggest Dobbins guy ever.
I know. That's
Never.
why I'm asking.
Never.
That's why I'm asking.
Never. I won't do it again. He'll probably have 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Never again, man. He cheated, it was like my significant other cheated on me, gave me herpes. I'm sorry, I can't come back from that.
I know you're a big Vidal guy, too, and that's why I'm asking, because I knew you love Dobbins, and I wanted your take on those.
Last couple of guys to talk about here. We have Jonathan Brooks at 32 because he's going to be a late round possible, not league winner, but he could be an RB2 and you got to wait on him. That's a guy to pair up with your, Brian Robinson, with your Zach Moss, with your Devin Singletary, right, who's at 30, who's the only show in town, at least early on in the year. Tyrone Tracy, actually. I do like him.
What that offense is going to be scares me, though.
Awful. You talk about Gus Edwards. Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford are actually going 38-39. If you have, that's going to be your RB3, say.
I put a question mark next to Chubb because I want to know what round you taking Chubb in. Like, what round would you feel good about taking
If the
Chubb?
league is shallower.
We'll say 10, 12 teams, sure.
Say 12 teams. With a big bench, I'm taking Chubb earlier.
Like 7, 8, 9, 10?
8.
Yeah? Okay.
I don't know, man. Lottery ticket. Like, I got to see the reports, but I saw him squatting.
Oh, dude, right?
I saw him squatting.
I saw that, too.
All right. Zach Charbonnet, Blake Corum, 41-42. I mean, we can get into all these guys later. There's not much there.
Nope.
Anything else you want to talk about? You want to talk about how I lost some weight and how I look good or any of that?
You are looking real good. I got a good 30, 40 pounds on you these days.
I know. We were kind of even for a while, weren't we? Weren't you down to like
250? No, it's been a minute. 260 maybe. It's probably.
And I was almost up to 260.
Yeah.
Wow, look at me.
I got to get after it.
I'm hot.
I got to quit drinking the teas.
Well, this is not beer. All right, buddy.
And it's been a complete joy.